Across the African savannah, survival is never guaranteed. Every day begins with the same challenge: find enough food to survive another night. For a mother honey badger, that challenge is even greater. She must not only feed herself, but also provide enough nourishment for her two growing cubs. Her name is Baku. As dawn breaks over the dry savannah, Baku emerges from her den and begins another dangerous search for food. The morning air is still cool, but the heat will soon become intense. Her powerful nose moves constantly, searching for any scent that might lead to a meal. She follows the smell through dry grass and thorny bushes, moving carefully across the rocky ground. For Baku, almost anything can become food. But today, her search leads her towards something she did not expect. A carcass lies ahead. A young antelope has died, and several vultures are already gathered around it. Their sharp beaks tear into the remains while others wait nearby for their chance. Baku approaches cautiously. She knows she is outnumbered, but she also knows she cannot afford to waste an opportunity. Suddenly, she charges. The vultures scatter in alarm as Baku rushes toward the carcass. She grabs a few pieces of meat as quickly as possible. There is no reason to stay and fight. Within seconds, she retreats, carrying what she can. The angry vultures return to their meal, while Baku disappears across the rocky terrain. But the encounter has given her something more valuable than a few pieces of meat. It has revealed where the vultures are feeding. And somewhere nearby, there may be another opportunity. As Baku continues through the savannah, something moving high above catches her attention. Two vultures repeatedly fly away from a rocky cliff and then return to exactly the same location. Baku stops. She watches. The birds are not simply resting. They are protecting something. A nest. For a predator like Baku, a nest can mean an easy source of food. But reaching it will not be simple. The nest is high above the ground, hidden among the rocks. Baku does not immediately attack. Instead, she waits. Day after day, she watches the vultures. Every time one bird leaves the nest, Baku remembers it. Every time they return, she watches their movements. She is learning their routine. In the wild, patience can be just as powerful as strength. After several days, Baku finally discovers a pattern. Around midday, when the temperature rises and the savannah becomes almost unbearably hot, both vultures leave the nest for a short period. For Baku, this is the moment she has been waiting for. The next day, as soon as the vultures disappear into the distance, Baku moves toward the cliff. She reaches the base and looks upward. The nest is far above her. But honey badgers are remarkably powerful climbers. Baku begins her ascent. Her claws grip the cracks in the rock as she slowly climbs higher. Loose stones tumble beneath her feet, but she continues. Every meter becomes more difficult. One mistake could send her crashing down the cliff. Yet Baku keeps climbing. At last, she reaches the nest. Inside are 2 eggs. For a mother with 2 hungry cubs waiting back at the den, this is an enormous prize. The eggs contain valuable protein and fat, nutrients that can help her young survive the difficult days ahead. Baku wastes no time. She cracks open the first egg and quickly eats it. Then she consumes the second. But she does not know that the vultures are already returning. Suddenly, their calls echo across the sky. Baku looks upward. The birds have discovered what happened. They dive toward the cliff, calling loudly as they attempt to drive the intruder away. Baku has no interest in fighting them. She turns and begins climbing down. The vultures follow. They swoop low over her, trying to intimidate her and force her away from the cliff. But Baku keeps moving. Her only goal is to escape. She reaches the bottom and disappears into the thick thorn bushes. The vultures circle overhead, but they cannot follow her into the dense vegetation. Baku has escaped. By the end of the day, she finally reaches her den. The moment she arrives, her 2 cubs emerge from the darkness. They are small, vulnerable, and completely dependent on their mother. Baku has returned with something far more valuable than meat. The nourishment from the 2 eggs may help keep her cubs alive for several more critical days. But while the family settles inside the den, danger is already beginning to move closer. High above the savannah, the vultures continue searching. They have lost their eggs. And now their movements bring them closer and closer to the area where Baku lives. The birds circle over the thorn bushes, searching for signs of the honey badger. Then they notice something. A narrow trail disappears into the dense vegetation. It leads toward Baku's den. The vultures have found her home. The following morning, Baku leaves the den once again. Her cubs remain inside. They are still too young to defend themselves, so their mother leaves them hidden while she searches for food. But the vultures return. They circle above the bushes. Lower and lower. They carefully watch the entrance to the den. Then Baku hears something unusual. The calls of the vultures are different. She stops in the middle of her journey. Her instincts immediately tell her that something is wrong. Baku turns around. Then she runs. She races across the rocky ground toward her den as fast as her powerful legs can carry her. When she arrives, the vultures are already flying low over the entrance. Baku immediately moves between the birds and her cubs. The first vulture dives. Baku reacts instantly. She lunges upward, forcing the bird to pull away. Another attack comes from the opposite side. Again, Baku charges. The confrontation becomes intense. The vultures have the advantage of the sky, but Baku has something they cannot match. She is protecting her young. Every dive brings another response. Every attempt to approach the den is met by the furious mother. The cubs remain hidden inside, while their mother refuses to move. For several minutes, the battle continues. The vultures circle. But eventually, the vultures begin to understand that reaching the cubs will not be easy. Baku is too aggressive, too determined, and too close to her young. After several final circles overhead, the vultures finally retreat. The danger begins to fade across the savannah. Baku remains outside the den for a moment, watching until the birds disappear into the distance. Only then does she return to her cubs. The 2 young honey badgers are safe. For now. The story of Baku is not a story about winning every battle. It is a story about survival. A mother searching for food. A mother willing to climb a dangerous cliff for 2 eggs. A mother escaping angry vultures. And finally, a mother standing between her helpless cubs and a threat from above. Across the African savannah, life is constantly changing. Food disappears. Predators appear. Danger can come from the ground or from the sky. But for Baku, there is always one reason to keep moving forward. Her cubs. Tomorrow, she will leave the den again. She will search the dry bushes. She will follow unfamiliar scents. She will face whatever the savannah places in her path. Because in the wild, survival is never a single victory. It is the courage to face another day.